So you have your cell phone, right?
Got my cell phone, and then there's a laptop in that RV over there.
Okay, no, let's do one by one. The phone, that was one that you had in your pocket, right?
Right, in my pocket.
Who else has access to that phone?
Well, depending on sometimes I have a guy that works with me. He'll take pictures sometimes with the phone.
So outside of you, other people will possibly have. Is it password protected?
Yeah, it's not very secure. I mean, everybody knows it.
Okay.
My kids use it quite a bit. My wife, mostly family and friends.
Is it
it's
a
not
swipe
like I would hand it around.
passcode, or is it a PIN numeric?
It's a PIN.
What's the PIN number for it?
Am I required to give that to you?
You're not.
Okay, I'd rather not.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, August 15th. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It has been quite a week. It's already Monday. It's only Monday. How can it only be Monday? Hi. Just finished a video on Sister Wives, and I have an update on Josh Duggar, and I'm going to do another video coming up after this about babies and the Duggars, because y'all love your babies. We might not like a couple Duggars, but we try to keep things happy here, and we do like some of the Duggars, so we try to be balanced. This is going to be about Josh, who we don't like. Next up, we'll be talking about some ladies that we do like. So let's chat here for a hot minute, because Josh Duggar's assets, or his property, has officially been seized by the government, and he's a lot less wealthy. Well, kind of. You know, remember when he was indicted back in 2021? There was a part of his indictment and sentencing that said that anything that was a part of what he was doing online could be taken and forfeited to the government, and we weren't sure if they were going to take assets from him or if it was just going to be property. We weren't sure if they were going to try to pilfer through his assets to find out if he made any money on what he was doing, but sounds like they are only asking for one thing right now, and that is his computer, and it has officially been seized. So it was already seized by the government, but Josh Duggar officially no longer can have this computer. This was something that he and his attorneys were fighting, in that they didn't want them to take this because they wanted it for their appeal, which last week I told you the appeal could be about him remote accessing into the computer, whatever. But anyways, they didn't want to get rid of this computer, and they kind of fought it. In an order by the court, they said that the order of forfeiture is in accordance with the law, and his HP desktop all-in-one model has been forfeited. So it says on June 29th of 2022, an attorney for the United States filed a notice of proof of publication showing that for 30 days, notice of the court's preliminary order of forfeiture was advertised on forfeiture.gov, and the deadline filing of claims was on July 27th of 2022. No third-party claims have been filed. So basically, they have to post it publicly onto this website called forfeiture.gov. And if somebody has a lien, so this is done more typically with like larger purchases. So say someone has a piece of property and the government is going to, that person has been convicted of a crime, and part of the criminal conviction is that this property has to be forfeited. Well, before they actually can forfeit the property, they have to place it out on this government website, and anyone that has like a claim to it. So say Joe owned a piece of property, and that property he used bad money that he made doing bad things. He bought that piece of property, but he took out a loan later and through his friend Steve. And Steve has a promissory note that's just between the two of them for $50,000. Steve could go over onto the website and see that Joe's property is up for forfeiture, and they could actually file a third-party claim saying, this is my property. This also happens with banks. If banks have liens against them, or if builders have liens, or if lenders have liens against property, they would put out a third-party claim to this saying, like, you can't forfeit this because I actually own a portion of it. Got it? Well, in this case, it's a 5-year-old computer, so the probability that he would have a lien out against it or somebody else owned the computer, I mean, let's be honest here. Who is going to make a third-party claim to a computer that contains what Josh has on it? Now, theoretically, if the Duggars wanted to be nitpicky, I suppose they could have said that it's a business computer that contains copyrighted business details that they own the whatever of, and they can't give it up. But nobody filed a third-party claim. So pursuant to that now, it is ordered and decreed that this is now the property of the United States. And that was finalized on August 11th of 2022. Now, when they do a forfeiture in a case, they generally just do it like one piece at a time. So let me just give you another example. Warren Jeffs, who is the leader of the FLDS, he had this huge case, and there was a lot of property that he had purchased based on the criminal activity of his dealings, and the property forfeiture and the forfeiture allegation of his case has been like literally ongoing for a very long time. Or another one is the Kingston group. So, you know, there was this huge story, the Kingston clan, they're a polygamous cult. They're in the state of Utah. They got busted in this huge petrol, like oil scam, and it was billions of dollars. They are still going through the process of forfeiting like islands that they bought or properties that they bought or planes that they bought, because they have to do like a forfeiture for just like each individual thing that they're going to forfeit. The government is not required to forfeit everything at once, so they can determine later on there is something else to forfeit if they find out that there is something. But right now, their biggest concern was that computer and getting what's on that computer off of the market, out of the hands of anyone that has intentions to distribute that content to anyone else, and to protect the children that were found in those videos so that their images will no longer be accessible and transmitted through Josh's computer. So that's the good news, is that even though the videos of those kids still exist online, you're not going to be able to get them from Josh Duggar's computer anymore. It's gone. His computer is turned off. You don't get access to it. And after the appeals, they'll likely destroy it. They promised not to destroy it until he has gone through the appeals process, but they don't want that content out there. They want to destroy it as soon as possible. They will not destroy it until he exhausts his appeals. But he never gets the computer back. That's the good news. Now, if 5 years from now, they find out something else he bought with money, or that he made money off of doing something, they could get assets forfeited. Like I said, if you go into the Kingston's criminal case, it's the federal case where they basically, it was a huge thing. It brought down a huge empire of the amount of money that this group makes. And their forfeiture is like, there are so many different cases because they had like islands, they had like houses, I mean, millions of dollars of housing and jewelry and just so much stuff that they had to like liquidate because of the billions of dollars that they stole through this process. That took them a lot longer. Another example would be the Chrisleys. They have a case where they're going to be sentenced in October, and a part of their sentencing is also forfeiture. And so the government is going to look at what is the total amount that they owe us, whether it's in the taxes, and they're going to try to recoup the amount of money that they were accused of and convicted of fraudulently obtaining from banks, and they're going to try to recoup that through the forfeiture of assets. So if they own property, if they have bank money in the bank, if they have timeshares, if they own luxury cars, if they have jewelry or assets, really anything is fair game if they can prove that the money that they used to buy this was a product of the criminal activity. They have to prove that first before they can request the forfeiture, and that's why the forfeiture process can take a very long time. So with the Chrisleys, I would expect it to be a lot like what's happening with the Kingstons, in that once it starts, you're going to start to see a trickling in of, okay, the government's going to claim this, and then they have to put it on forfeiture.gov, and then they're going to claim this, and they got to put it out on forfeiture.gov. And if it's property, that can take a while because banks have liens, or if contractors have liens, they have to basically clear it that they can take it to recover the legally taken money. And the goal with the Chrisley case would be to help the banks recover some of the funds that they were convicted of defrauding from, which I think was around $30 million. Their sentencing is coming up in October. Sorry. And they're facing like 30 years, but from what I've been reading, don't expect them to go through that much time. So forfeiture is different for every single case. Josh's case has a forfeiture allegation. Right now, the only thing that they've requested is the computer, and that now is officially property of the government, so no more. Will that mean other assets could be potentially seized from him? Well, there's currently the $50,000 lien that's placed on him, property right now, anything that he owes to the government because of his fine, and they haven't paid that back yet, probably because of the appeals. And he has until like 20 years after his release from prison to pay it off in full. He can pay it off in chunks while he's in prison, and then after he gets out, he'll be on a payment plan where a certain portion of his net income or gross income will go towards paying back the fine. And his current fine that he owes the government is $50,000. That's not on top of anything else they might find along the way. So for right now, it's just the computer. Does that make sense? So if you're wondering if they're taking all the cards, not yet, you guys, just the computer. So what are your thoughts about this? Are you glad that the computer is gone? Do you think the government will request anything else beyond the computer? And if there is anything that they would request, what do you think that would be? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.